What's up? Merry Christmas time, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, and welcome to our official kickoff of Christmas season. 'Tis the season to be merry. Nope, we're not doing that movie. However, today's episode.
What does he say? I love that movie. I love that name.
Merry? Oh, I like that. That's a good name. Or he's like, 'tis the season to be merry is what he says, and she's like, oh, that's my name.
That's what it is. I knew he
can't even see the lines, can you, Russ? No, but however, we are not doing this movie today. We are going to do Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, two of the most iconic movies that we have all grown up with, and the most iconic movies that we actually kick off our holiday season in my household with. On Thanksgiving night, we set up the Christmas stuff and we play Home Alone 1. Christmas stuff has actually already been set up, and that was before Thanksgiving just because there were some things going down. But enough of that. First things first, we like to talk about, hey, go ahead, subscribe to us, share us to a friend, your parents, I don't care who it is that might enjoy a lot of cool things. Go check out our interview that we did on Nerd Initiative, The Turn a Page. We just talked to Jeff Johns and Jason Fabic last week. It's actually on our feeds as well. Go check that out. And then,
if those names don't sound familiar, Jeff Johns should. You've never watched a DC TV show, his name wasn't on.
He literally shaped me as a comic book fan. And so getting to talk to him was just absolutely mind-blowing.
Surreal.
We talked about Ghost Machine, which more to come from that. It's an upcoming creator-owned, character-focused comic book company that was announced at New York City Comic Con. Cannot wait for that. It starts out in January, so be on the lookout for that. Go read Geiger 1, that's out now. And as always, find us on social media by Hops Geek News. Join the Discord. We're going to be working out some things so we can do some hangout sessions, maybe once or twice a month. Really just kind of hang out and get to see what you guys want to listen to. Just hang out, man. We like to just hang out. So, and as always, you can find us every Wednesday on the Nerd Initiative Bullpen, where we are assistant editors, dropping the latest and greatest comic book reviews for you all to check out for New Comic Book Day. Exciting stuff. If this is your first time listening to the show, thanks for hanging out. We hope you stick around. We like to fix our mistakes from the previous week. We like to go into what we've been reading or watching, and then dive into some news before our main topic. So, Lauren, we do have something. However, I forgot. Back it up a moment. Let's talk about what we're drinking real quick. This is a beer that comes from my dad. He came and brought me a couple of beers. I sent one to Lauren. I parted ways. This is a big moment. Like, I had to part ways with one of these because it is the apex of beers, if you will. It comes from the Alchemist Brewery out of Stowe, Vermont, Focal Banger, which is the superior IPA in my opinion. I don't know how you feel. Like, Focal Banger is better in my opinion.
Oh, better than Hetty? Yeah. And Blind Pig's better than Pliny. So anybody not familiar with beer, Pliny the Elder and Hetty Topper are both double IPAs that have been around for well before craft beer took off. And they're the classic West Coast and the classic East Coast. So this is the classic East Coast. Alchemist put unfiltered hazy beers on the map. They created the Focal Banger is their IPA instead of their double IPA. And it's such a classic. It says to drink out of the can. I always break that rule. You're also, if you do drink out of the can, you're supposed to have it upside down for a few minutes for it to get mixed back up. You had to part with one to give it to me, and I had to part with half of it to give it to my husband, because it's one of those beers that if I don't share, we will have marital issues.
Welcome to America. Come to learn about taxes, the beer tax, if you.
But you had to pay the podcast co-host tax. I had to pay the husband tax, because it would have been an issue if I did not share this beer. That is how good this beer is and how well known this beer is. Drink
this on the show without at least sending one to you, because it is hard to get. And they're distributing down to Massachusetts now. They're not telling anybody, of course, but they are widely distributing in New England. So hopefully we'll get some more of that. But let's read from the can real quick. Focal Banger is an American IPA. We have a real love for IPAs here at The Alchemist, and we strive to offer you the best hop experience that we possibly can. This beer is brewed using Citra and Mosaic hops and our favorite British malts. Truly an abundance of hoppy goodness. Freshness and control have always been my main concern when it comes to our beer. We are committed to providing you with an unfiltered and unpasteurized hop experience. Why do I recommend that you drink it from the can? Quite simply to ensure a delightful hop experience. The act of pouring it in a glass smells nice, but it releases the essential hop aromas that we have worked so hard to retain. If you must pour it into a glass, you may find that some of the hop resins have settled to the bottom, leaving them in the can when pouring. This beer is perishable and at its best when it's young, fresh, and hazy. Keep it cold, but not ice cold. Drink this beer today. You could be dead tomorrow. Signed, John Kimmich. Now, this is a 100% family-owned brewery. And don't be a D-bag. Recycle this can. Also, not for nothing, but this was actually canned relatively recently at the end of October. is when this was canned too. So it is as fresh as we could get it down here. Like I said, my parents came to visit over Veterans Day weekend, and man, if you've never been up there to Stowe, Vermont, first of all, it's beautiful. The skiing's amazing. Second of all, in the summertime, the whole place looks like Jurassic Park. That's also in the area of where the Ben & Jerry's factory is, which is a fun little tour. And Vermont's just amazing.
We went to the Von Trapp Brewery when the same day.
I went there too. Yeah. Because they're right down the street from each other.
Yeah. And it's really pretty. You get to walk around, and I've never seen Sound of Music, but I still appreciated all of it. And then the brewery, it's all like Austrian themed beers. So it which is very similar to Germany. They taste like German beers. It's a really awesome area. And, we got a classic beer for a classic movie. So that's how I'm going to connect the two. And I have it in my glass. It says, "Cheers, you filthy animal."
Beautiful. I have it in my Hopsgeek glass. We got merch. If you want some merch, we don't have any more glasses, but that could change if people want some. We do have coasters and stickers, so check that out.
Yes.
Now let's go into what we've messed up on, looked into, because Lauren had started a new segment called 4 Degrees of Supernatural. However, we seem to have missed that last week. So what do you have for us this week?
So last week we talked the Marvels and Loki season 2. So in the Marvels, we saw Valkyrie, who is in Ragnarok with Karl Urban, who is in The Boys with Johnson. So there's your 4 degrees.
We really reached on that one, huh?
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? It's technically 4 degrees. In a way, they all touch because time is a flat circle. So in a roundabout way, we got there.
Yeah, we got there. It's 4 degrees. I could probably do it closer if I really thought about it. True. I'm sure there's somebody in something, but I was just like, oh, that works.
I'm sure there is.
As long as it's within 4. You had Valkyrie, Karl Urban, and then that's
actually
to Jensen. That's really quick right there.
That's 2.
I mean, Karl Urban and Valkyrie are in the same movie, and then he's in that with Jensen.
That's true. That is 3. All right. What are 2? Yeah. You know what? Perfect. We got there. Let's go into what we have been reading or watching. Why don't you kick us off?
I haven't really watched much this past week. Josh finally got into The Boys. So, of course, he puts it on and I get sucked in and then he falls asleep. So I end up watching all of it again. And I'm giving him like little tidbits as he's watching it, which he probably doesn't care. I'm like, oh, like, I don't know if you know, but their baby, the Impala, is in one of the memes that the meme or the little video that runs over Stormfront after they find out she's a Nazi.
Yeah.
The car that runs her over is the Impala. So I'm pointing out all those little Easter eggs and giving fun facts for the comics, which he probably doesn't care about. So that's the only thing I've read or watched this week. I've not watched Blue Beetle. It's still on my to-do list, but nobody really cares to watch it in this house. The comic I reviewed this week for Nerd Initiative was The Alternates #3. This is by Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, and Tim Seeley. This is the 3rd of 4th books, but it is a spin-off of the comic run called Minor Threats. I'm really enjoying this, and it's really funny, which of course it is because you have Oswald Patton. So these group of second-class superheroes end up in this place called The Ledge, and then they come back, but they never left the ledge. And now there's this drug on the market that is tapping people into the ledge, and they're getting high enough that they have to stop it because they know that this is dangerous. And so you have these things going on where this group of secondhand superheroes are all dealing with trauma from visiting this place and dealing with emotions about how they feel. At the same time, they're trying to be a superhero team. But the one leader is we are a counseling group first, or a support group first, guys. We're superheroes, which is kind of funny. And then they bicker like siblings, and it's a lot of fun stuff. I'm really enjoying that comic run. I did read Minor Threats, but you don't need to read it to enjoy The Alternates. But that is Dark Horse Comics, so you can most likely pick that one up at your local comic book shop, no problem. Once I started The Alternates, I messaged my comic book shop, hey, do you have Minor Threats? And they have. That's what I've been reading and what I reviewed this week. If you want my full review on it, you can head to nerdinitiative.com.
Ooh, very nice. What else you got?
That's it. That's all I've read or watched. I don't know what happened this week.
Well, it's just a busy time of year, man. It's just crazy. It's just this is the time of year that you want to grasp on every day because it's just a slippery slope. And next thing you know, it's New Year's and you're like, wow, we're in a whole new year. So
yeah, I mean, I watched Supernatural while I was working out, but that's just.
Fair. I haven't watched. I need to. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. I haven't. There's been a lot going on.
We got to record our season 7 episode soon.
Oh boy. Yeah, we do. Because I'm going to quickly forget that. And what I've been reading and watching. So this past week, I should say, I reviewed Dracula issue 2 from Martin Simmons and James Tynion. Skybound Entertainment with Image Comics have been doing a phenomenal job with this. The artwork is very rustic and it's very just stylistic and I don't know. There's something about it that just adds to the mystique because they're very slowly giving us the mystery behind Dracula and the shroud that's enveloping London. And they dropped a Van Helsing Easter egg in this, and it's a really good comic book. If you haven't checked it out yet, only 2 issues deep, do so. It's very, very good. And like I said, it's building anticipation. There's some very good horror elements and a really good classic Dracula tale. Check that out. And then I also reviewed Carnage issue number 1 from Marvel Comics. And in this one, Carnage has pretty much achieved godlike abilities. He gets sent back to Earth and reincarnates basically Cletus Cassidy, and he goes on this big murdering spree, and they have the anti-venoms in this run with Flash Thompson, so it's setting up a battle between those two. It's very bloody. There's a sequence, for instance, where a guy was boiled alive, and so like they don't hold back on this issue. It's very good. It's very kind of surprising for Marvel. It's definitely don't let your kids read it.
Terrible way to go.
Yeah, and right in the middle of like New York City too. It's just this whole like in the middle of the city, just boiled alive. It's pretty gnarly. Definitely recommend this. And then I've watched a few things. So first things first, there's a 2020 show on Netflix called Dash and Lily. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I love a good Christmas time romantic comedy. And this is yeah. It is an 8-episode show, only 1 season.
They needed 8 episodes for this.
It was very cute. It's 23-minute episodes. Like the premise is there's this notebook left at this library or bookstore that this kid named Dash finds. He comes from like a dad who's never around because he's rich and always has a new girlfriend. He's by himself. It's Christmas time, New York City. He finds his notebook. They start to play a game. Like they leave the notebook back and forth, playing kind of cat and mouse, getting to know each other, a fun little adventure. It's very adorable, man. Something.
So it's basically like online dating, messaging each other, but it's in a notebook.
Yeah, it's very cute, dude. It's like, it's really cool. It's 8 episodes. It's a good show. I really enjoyed it. And you only get 1 season. House. No, it's just good. All right. So whatever. I don't have to explain myself to you. Another thing I did watch though was Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, the latest animated series on Netflix from the original Scott Pilgrim crew. They came back for 8 episodes. They teased a 2nd season. So I think we're going to get more. This is all the original cast. So we're talking Chris Evans. We're talking Aubrey Plaza, Anna Kendrick, who was barely in it and it made me sad. It was Michael Cera. It was the whole OG cast. Brie Larson was in, and you didn't recognize her voice because I'm so used to her like Miss Marvel voice, but this wasn't it. And then obviously Ramona Flowers is in it, and it's a very interesting take. They start you off thinking they're going to 1-for-1 shot the movie in the books that they're based on. However, it takes a very interesting twist and turn that I wasn't expecting, and it was so much freaking fun, man. I live for Scott Pilgrim. It's one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. So my entire personality is like going to be this show. It's so good. You have to watch it. Again, like 23-minute episodes, 8 of them, very quick watch, very good watch. Just a lot of action.
January episode, rewatch the movie, and then
I think we're going to have to. Yeah, because we've never really done
I need to rewatch the movie. I haven't seen the movie in years. God,
it's so good. It is so good. But yeah, the original cast is back. It's dope. And then I watched one more movie called Thanksgiving, the latest horror film from Eli Roth, taking place in Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Wait, is this the same? This is the one with Patrick Dempsey that you mentioned last week?
McDreamy, yeah.
Okay,
I went Friday night. Now, first of all, we got to talk like movie theaters. Regal, for some reason, we used to play like ads before the movie started. So while you're getting into your seats, getting your candy, they would play ads. Now they don't do that until like the actual movie time is supposed to start. So we went to a 7:00 showing. Then they start the ads for 15
Yeah, I know.
minutes. And then
it works out well though when you're running late.
Well, no, it doesn't, because not when you have a babysitter and you're like, oh, an hour, 45-minute movie. Perfect. We can get our kids by the 9:30 time that we need to get them by. Well, we had to like leave in the last scene because like we saw it. Luckily, like it ended as we needed to leave at the very last second that we could not stay any longer. But it's still like, dude, the movie didn't start until 35 minutes after, which that's ridiculous. Like, what the hell? It sucks. But
I heard there was a really good end credit scene there.
I don't know if there's a post-credit scene.
I'm just kidding. I was about to say, I couldn't say. Probably not.
I will say, they did set up for a sequel. I won't obviously ruin who the murderer is, but it's super good. Like it's bloody as Eli Roth does bloody. It's really funny. It's like a classic little satire comedy.
Is it cheesy?
Not really cheesy. There's like some cheesy, funny deaths, but they're like bloody at the same time, and it's kind of serious. And the whole premise of the movie is kind of cheesy, like tongue in cheek towards, Black Friday and stuff like that in a way, and Thanksgiving in general. And it was really interesting to see Milo Manheim come from the set of like Zombies, where he's this very like, Disney-fied person, to being in this movie. And then there's also a movie where he's like Joseph in the son of Bethlehem or whatever it is. So it's he's Zed from Zombies. And it's funny to see him.
The tall guy?
Yeah. Okay. He's the main character in Zombies. So it's funny seeing him in this movie too. But the cast actually rocked it, man. I thought the cast did a great job. Obviously, McDreamy was amazing in this. The Boston accents were actually not bad. And then they pulled some deep cuts. So like real ones know about Papagenos, for example. They talk about Papagenos, and real ones know about that, or the town of Hanover, and just cool stuff like that. It was very good. So I recommend you guys watching that movie. It's definitely made its way into like a rewatch every year. So that's what I've been doing. Let's dive into some news real quick. So for those fans of The Last of Us, well, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered will be launching on January 19th, 2024, only on PlayStation 5. So good for me. I got a PS5. Yay. Now there's some big casting news that happened. Nicholas Hoult, who has been denied every major role this poor guy has been trying to get. Well, he just got cast as... He has.
He's young beast.
Yeah. He was in Warm Bodies. He was in The Menu. He's very good. I love his acting.
And I forgot he was in The Menu. He was such a dick.
That's why he's been cast as Lex Luthor for James Gunn's Superman. And so that's why I really think this kid's got the chops. Good job,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They just better start him off bald. I don't want to see him with hair. None of this, what they did with Jesse Eisenberg.
I don't care if he's bald. Well, he's got to be bald. He's Lex Luthor.
He has to be bald.
He's got to be bald. Yeah. And I'm sure they're going to do great, because there's been lots of casting announcements coming out about this. But man, this is one I'm most excited for, because he's been trying so hard to get a good role, and he auditioned for Superman. And so to play Lex Luthor, if you've watched his stuff like The Menu, you know that he's got the chops.
Oh, and did you see they cast Jimmy Olsen?
Yes.
I didn't know his name. It's Skylar Gisondo.
If you watch Santa Clarita Diet.
Yes. He is the hilarious teenage next door neighbor. He looks like
Jimmy Olsen. Like, it just makes sense.
Yeah, for me, though, I was introduced to Jimmy Olsen for the first time ever in Supergirl. So whenever he's not a tall, black, skinny man, I'm like, that's not Jimmy Olsen. But I feel he was hilarious in Santa Clarita Diet. So I'm looking forward to seeing him as Jimmy Olsen.
He really was. It's I'm really excited for this. Yeah, Jimmy Olsen got cast too. Like, I'm pretty pumped for this movie. It starts filming next year with the 2025 release. I hate that we got to wait so long, but hey.
It'll be here before we freaking know it.
At this rate, it really will. I'll be like, oh my God, how is it 2025?
I know, that sounds futuristic.
It does.
I mean, it is.
Where's my flying cars? Instead, I just have depression and a crumbling economy and climate crisis.
Oh, we still don't have a hoverboard. They threw wheels on a freaking board and called it a hoverboard. Like, no, that's a skateboard that you don't move on your own. But yeah.
Yeah, I do. Whatever. Anyways, there is a new Jason Bourne film in the works with Edward Berger set to direct. They have not talked to Matt Damon yet. We don't, but they also haven't talked to Matt Damon yet about reprising his role. I bet you he will, but we don't need it. Although I'm not going to turn it down, because I like those movies. And then my last little bit of news is, you thought you saw the last of Ralph Boner. Well, guess what? According to Jimmy Woo, in a deleted scene for WandaVision, Ralph Boner was the missing witness that Jimmy was looking for the entire time.
I thought we knew that.
No, I don't think we did.
Wasn't it?
I think it was speculated.
So I saw that maybe that's what it was. I must have seen a video or something, but I thought that there was like, it must have been one of the Screen Crush videos or something. Like somebody had done research and his picture was something different than the rest of it. Or because when that news came out, I was like, I didn't realize this was new information, because I could have sworn that we knew that. But I guess whoever had those theories can now know that they were right.
Yeah, I don't think so. What kind of news you got?
I got Walking Dead news. So The Walking Dead, the one who lives, That premieres February 25th, 2024. There is a trailer out there, but it feels more like a teaser trailer and actually debuted during the finale of Fear the Walking Dead, which I did not know was still on. I started Fear. I stopped watching Fear. Fear was really good. And then I think it was just too much. And it's like, how many stories can you do in the same universe with zombies involved?
But the trailer, they just didn't do them very good.
I think that they did a lot of them well, but then they had lulls in between and they would just keep throwing new characters in and expect us to be attached to these characters, and we weren't. And I think that's why I liked the last season of The Walking Dead, because I did stick around to the end because I loved the comic book and I loved how the comic book ended. I know that Robert Kirkman loves happy endings, so I always look forward to a Robert Kirkman ending. It didn't disappoint, and I feel like part of it didn't disappoint because, one, it was pretty in line with the comics, and two, it brought back and focused on the characters we did fall in love with.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that. And in this next one, it is Rick and Michonne. You see in the trailer, Rick saying, like, it almost is like he's writing a note to Michonne, like, I tried to get out, because we don't know what happened to him. We have speculations. He was taken by somebody. We don't know who. We don't know why they kept him. If he was trying to get out, like, why did they still want him? And we did see Michonne leave Rick Jr. and Carl and, well, not Carl, leave Rick Jr. and Judith and go looking for him, which the only reason that would make sense is for there to be a spinoff. That's literally the only reason. You don't leave your child in Apocalypse and just assume, oh, you're going to be fine here in Alexandria, even though it's been attacked and the walls have come down and it's been crawling with zombies multiple times. But whatever. Yeah. I will be watching that. I do intend on catching up on a lot of this
You're
stuff.
the problem.
I haven't watched The Daryl Show. I haven't watched Negan and Maggie show. I haven't watched
anything Walking Dead. They killed my passion for the show a long time ago.
I did kind of like give up, and like Josh gave up completely. And then I was like, okay, I want to finish this. So and it finished about a year ago. And I really actually got into the last season. I thought it was great. And I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan. I don't think it's my bias to Supernatural. I think I just really like that.
No, I thought he was really good. I think he's a really good actor. I liked him as Negan. I don't know what it is. It felt like they're making the same after season like 3. It was like the same show every season, just about, and it just kind of wore me down, I guess, as a viewer.
I don't know, and I feel like also like the deaths that are, you're not superheroes. Like, how'd you get out of that one? Like,
what, you can't hide under a dumpster from a horde of zombies that know you're right there,
right? And and when you finish Supernatural, you will see like they even make fun of that. Oh man, in an episode, and it's I love that they did that. It's so freaking amazing. Boo-bar. But you still got a lot of time to go till the end of that show. You've been watching the show for almost a year. You realize that, and you are halfway done.
There's been a lot of life, okay?
Right, and you're not doing anything wrong. There's just a lot of episodes. That was what I'm like. That's crazy. Okay, let's move on from The Walking Dead. However, Stephen Yin, better known as Glenn from The Walking Dead, or he voices Mark Grayson. Both of those are Robert Kirkman projects. Robert Kirkman revealed during a live stream that it looks like he's been cast as Sentry in the Thunderbolts. I wonder if he got in trouble for that. I felt like
I wonder if Robert Kirkman was like, I wondered that too, because that hasn't officially been announced, and I wonder if Feige was just like, dude, what the hell? But it's Robert Kirkman. Like, how much trouble is he going to get in?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So The Boys season 4 will take place a couple days after Gen V ends. I think we kind of all knew that, but there it is, confirmed. The writers of Harold and Kumar have confirmed a 4th installment is happening. So the last time we saw them was in their Christmas special, and both of their significant others were pregnant. So this could be a fun, now we have kids, but we still want to get high movie is what I'm guessing it's going to be. Doctor Who Christmas special is apparently happening. Yes. I was kind of surprised when I saw this. So it's going to be called The Church on Ruby Road. It will debut on Christmas Day, and it will be on Disney Plus. As far as which Doctor it is, I don't know. I'm guessing
maybe they're leaving it for a surprise.
But sometimes they do these specials. Like I remember after Tenet ended, they then had specials that he was in. So it was like he was done with the seasons. That's why it's always hard when you're going back and like trying to watch Doctor Who, because you find all the seasons and then you're still missing episodes because they have special. Merry Little Batman, the animated movie, is coming to Prime on December 8th. There's a documentary about the Star Wars holiday special coming on December 5th. And my last piece of news is Brenda and Brandon Walsh are coming to MegaCon. So Jason Priestley and Shannon Doherty. I'm hoping for more MegaCon announcements. I mean, I think that's kind of cool. But I don't care that much.
I don't either. So far, I haven't really been too impressed with the announcements, but that's what they do. Like they keep building. So like as it gets closer, and I'm still waiting for them to announce the panels.
We're really close. Though.
Like I would love to know, like, are we paneling there? Like I need to make travel arrangements. Like, can we get this party started already? Because it's beginning of February, man. And
yeah,
people got a plan, dude. People got a plan. So like, can we?
I will say this is a great year to buy some MegaCon tickets for somebody for Christmas.
I'm going to just send them the video of us interviewing Jeff Johns on the press and be like, deny us now. Okay. Deny me now.
But we've seen legit people get denied for
I just MegaCon. Saw Mark Bernardin and a couple other big time people got denied for LA Comic-Cons. San
Francisco?
Oh, it was Los Angeles. So it's like, what are these cons doing, man?
There must be like an automatic, like it's just.
What are we?
I don't even know. But there are a few announcements for MegaCon Orlando. Shadow Man's going to be in it. What is it? Keith? Oh, Paul Bettany. That's the big one we're excited about. I knew there was something we were excited about. Robin Wright, the guy from Princess Bride, Keith David from Thing, They Live. He voices Shadow Man. Danny Trejo, Rose McGowan. Oh, they must be. Oh, so now they got all three Charmed people.
Oh, Big Charm reunion.
Juliette Lewis and Jason Priestley. So those are all the people that have been cast. But it's interesting that these cons are turning it. They're not just focusing on geek culture now. They're focusing just on pop culture.
Well, good. Because I just hope we get more comic creators. Like,
yeah, it doesn't look like they've announced anybody who's not like a. And you know what I did? I made my beard disappear.
I do have some news. Some news I just saw is Variety, which take this for true. Variety sucks, but Melissa Barrera was fired from Scream 7. Apparently, she was the lead girl in Scream 7 after
the older sister
floating a certain anti-Semitic trope that Jewish people control the media. In an Instagram story, she basically said Western media only shows the other side. Why did they do that? I'll let you decide for yourself. And so she got canned. And then Susan Sarandon got dropped by her talent agency for being vocal as to what's going on in the Israeli-Palestinian war. And I'm not going to touch anything further than that because I'm not even going to dive into this, entertain this more. However, that is casting news and actor news. So wanted to report on that. Let's go into something more cheerful because this is the kickoff to Christmas time, folks. Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, it's just that time of year. And let's go into Home Alone. Okay. So we'll be what?
My husband grew up Jewish without Christmas, and this is one of his favorite movies.
Well, there you go. Look, this is just a movie for everybody because it's less about the actual Christmas theme itself and more about a 8-year-old kid causing permanent life injuries and murdering 2 crooked robbers. So we will be right back to talk about Home Alone 1 and 2. All right, folks, welcome back. Home Alone 1 and 2. But first things first, we did not forget the 4 degrees of Supernatural this week. Lauren, what is our very easy 4 degrees?
So Devin Ratray, a.k.a. Buzz, was in Supernatural. He was in the episode The Real Ghostbusters. He was cosplaying as Dean.
Oh, Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Oh, that's that was not a little girl in the picture. Yeah, it was a little boy.
It was like the director's son or something like that because they didn't want to go ahead and make anybody feel bad. So,
which I thought that was really sweet.
That's very smart. That's very cool. Like, especially for the 90s, that's progressive.
I always wonder with some of these things, like there's an episode in Friends, like when Monica and Chandler get married and there's this little girl standing on Ross's, like all these kids are standing on Ross's toes and dancing and he's trying to impress this girl. And then this one little girl who's a little bit bigger, they're making like fat jokes about this child. And I'm like, how was this okay with this person's parents? And like, could you imagine then like going back and like, she probably didn't even realize what the joke was at the time. It was really, some things I just look back and if you're an adult and the casting call says, hey, we're looking for somebody who's hideous, please apply if you're hideous.
Your daughter is ugly, man. You should have her in this movie. Like, bro, that's kind of brutal.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully SAG-AFTRA covers therapy. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's go into this movie. So fun facts first. All right. Chandler is Macaulay Culkin's real brother, actually. Kevin's ticket can actually be seen in the garbage after milk gets spilled everywhere. The producers couldn't afford it, but after snow covered the entire set on the second day of shooting, they had no choice but to call in the snow machines for the remainder of the film's production. In one scene,
I can't imagine that movie not having snow.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be Chicago. Like,
right.
How would you not have snow? It's just one of those things. Now, in one scene, mashed potato flakes were actually used as falling snow. I wonder if like you got that in your mouth, how bad that tasted.
It was at the end when he's like looking out the window.
Oh, interesting. Now, because of child labor laws, many of Catherine O'Hara's close-up lines were spoken to a tennis ball, which makes sense.
You hear that a lot. I think you heard that in Harry Potter too.
Oh yeah, I think in Harry Potter though, like they were actually taken care of, whereas Macaulay Culkin, I don't think was taken care of very well as a child. Like you hear about those child stars that just brutal. Mm-hmm. So why don't you go ahead and take us the rest of these fun facts about the movie before we dive into it?
So Angels with Filthy Souls is not a real movie. They just made the clips for the movie. Mince Mark stuffs on are actually candy. So they didn't feel great, but they did not feel like they were stepping on glass or he was stepping on glass ornaments. Pesci was advised to say fridge on set to avoid cursing all the time because apparently he had a real issue with not cursing. So Christopher Columbus, he actually advised like, why don't you try saying fridge instead? So to keep little kid Macaulay Culkin from seeing naked women in Buzz's Playboys, they actually taped the pages together, which I think is hilarious, but makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
The house is a real house with real people who lived there while they were even filming. Pesci avoided Culkin while on set to keep him a little bit scared of him. And then when he was pretending to bite his finger, he actually did and broke the skin. I've read things before that like he has a scar, but I can't imagine he bit him that hard to where the kid has a scar.
Right.
But maybe he had a scar for a little bit. I'd be shocked if he still had a scar today is Joe Pesci a fucking vampire? Maybe he is. Who knows? John Candy improvised his lines, but he was the only one that was really allowed to do that. And he did all of his filming in one day. The scary furnace in the basement was done just by flashlights and fishing line because they had such a small budget, which I always thought that was funny because I didn't know what that was as a kid because I've never seen a furnace.
Right. Before. Yeah. Because, well, you didn't. It makes sense. You live in Florida, so why would you have one?
Right.
But I never had an old one like this, though.
So that's an old one. So that's not something you would see today?
I don't think so. I've never seen one like that. I don't know. That's a good question.
We'll have to ask Tim. I bet he knows.
Tim probably knows.
there's your
Tim cameo.
The Wet Bandit house flood scene was shot in an indoor pool at a nearby school, so no houses were flooded. This movie was released in November 1990, and Home Alone had a 12-week stint at number one. It also held the top-grossing live-action comedy for 27 years.
It did.
I should have looked up who broke that.
$476.7 million. And I actually have the movie that broke it right here. The Hangover Part 2 in 2011. Is the one that unseated it being the highest grossing live action comedy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hangover 1 was definitely better.
Did you know this film was also the second highest grossing film of 1990 behind Ghost? Yes, of all movies.
I would say overall this one did better because this is a movie you revisit regularly, whereas I do not revisit Ghost regularly.
I couldn't tell you the last time I actually watched Ghost.
I couldn't either. I was probably a kid.
Have I ever? I have, I think, but
I've definitely seen Ghost. Because I was thinking the guy who voiced Tarzan was the bad guy in Ghost. And I remember him getting chased by the demons after he dies. Yeah, and Whoopi Goldberg's in it. Like, she was big back then.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's a psychic. Okay. And he jumps into her. I don't remember any of that.
I don't remember a single thing about that movie, to be honest with you. And Patrick Swayze was dead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Demi Moore. So you can actually see a camera over Macaulay's shoulder when he's pretending to decorate the tree. And he's like, Dad, come and help me. Because you can see Pesci behind him. So if you look carefully, you can see a camera. House is in Winnetka, Illinois. And the kitchen, main staircase, and ground floor landing are seen in the film. And they were all shot in this 5-bedroom residence. The dining room and all other first floor rooms, with the exception of the kitchen, were shot on a soundstage. In 2012, the house was sold for $1.585 million.
Wow. I wonder what's like living in a house like that where, it's like one of the most iconic, famous, because you have the people who like have the Goonie house and they're very inviting. Like, hey, just be respectful of our privacy, essentially, when coming by.
Hocus Pocus house too.
The Hocus Pocus house, and then you have this house, and so it's like you don't hear anything necessarily about this house too much. But I will say that there is a Lego set of this house that I want wicked bad. I'm gonna own it someday because I want to get it to make like a Christmas village, if you will. I want to get like all the Christmas village sets. I want to get this house, and I want to get the Christmas vacation house too, maybe at some point, because that would be dope. But
Brandy's son has the Home Alone house.
Well, if how cool would that be, though? Then I would not turn you down as a late birthday, early Christmas gift.
But if you lived in the house and you had the Lego house,
that'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
My house is a Lego set. Like, that's better than making your parents disappear.
Like, yeah, right. I mean, I'm not even a Lego person. I love minifigs. I don't love Legos. And that, if I lived in that house, I would want that Lego set.
Would be so cool. It would be so cool. Now, this movie stars Macaulay Culkin. It stars Joe Pesci as Harry, Daniel Stern as Marv, John Hurt as Peter, and Catherine O'Hara as Kate, and then a long list of other fine people that we have talked about. You had something. What were you going to say?
Oh, just my last fun fact. If you're an Elvis conspirator.
Oh, yes.
They believe he's in the background in this movie. That's it.
Interesting, isn't it?
So interesting.
Well, this movie, though, for me, so like I said, this movie is personally one that we watch while we decorate for Christmas. We always like to throw up all of our Christmas stuff and put this movie on to kind of signal the start of Christmas season. You know, it's just how it goes. And everybody in this movie sucks, though. There's nobody in this movie that's actually redeeming quality wise. The family sucks.
The guy next door.
Okay,
so if
actually,
they called
you're
all
right.
The neighbors, like if they called all the neighbors, did they not call him? Why didn't they call him? And if he sees this kid wandering aimlessly by himself and he's like aware that they're out of town, like what the hell?
Yeah, so that is very surprising. Maybe they didn't have his number because he was very reserved. I thought it was mean, but at the same time, like if there's a creepy, quiet old man in your neighborhood, of course you're gonna have like stories about him. How about
what happened with his son?
Buzz was basically like he murdered people with a shovel and he puts them in the salt, and that's what slowly eats away their bodies and all that.
That was another thing as a kid. I didn't understand why he was salting the sidewalks. That was another thing that went completely.
Oh yeah, well that's how you know you've never actually lived. Yeah, you got to salt the sidewalks, otherwise you're sliding down them on full blast. And my dad actually tore his ACL once as a mailman, and somebody didn't salt, and so he slipped and tore his ACL and got a fat paycheck out of it. So,
well, that's at least he got paid.
You could get sued, folks.
My aunt that lives in Rhode Island texted, she's like, I slipped on ice. I think I'm ready for a trip to Florida.
It's been raining up here. Now, further north you get, of course, it's been snowy, but it has been raining on this part of the East Coast, which is kind of nice. I love rainy days. And it made the mood while I was watching this movie today, too. I thought it was perfect. But the beginning of this movie is chaos. Like, Uncle Frank.
What is a dick and a half.
Freaking bum this guy is.
Like toxic before toxic was a thing.
What is this guy doing? He's just like, it's traveler's checks. Oh, it's not my house. This is my brother's house. He'll take care of it. Meanwhile, his brother, what is
nobody knows what they do.
Because
what does she do?
He's fronting a trip for like 20 people to go to France.
But I feel like she acts like she's some sort of like working class person too.
There are theories that she was like some famous fashion designer. There's a theory there. Oh. That one I've heard.
Okay. Now that would make sense because they dressed her and everything as very classy. She's a classy lady in this.
That would make a lot of sense if she was a fashion designer. Yeah. Well, it would make sense. And then Mr. McAllister probably has, I don't even know. He works in Chicago. So he probably, my headcanon, he's some financial guru or something like that. Works for some big firm. But he was though.
He did not care at all that his son was missing.
No. And meanwhile, this goes into how chaotic flying used to be too. But they count.
Still chaotic.
Does this car get good gas?
If you live in Orlando, it's still chaotic. Oh my God.
That airport's the worst. But that kid, first of all, annoying as fuck.
Josh and I regularly said to Logan, I don't know, kid, get out of here.
My favorite is when the kids are sitting in the car and they're just going on and on and on and on as kids do, asking a million questions. I'll turn to Carrie and I'm like, does this car get good gas mileage? Just as our way of being they're not shutting the fuck up.
Oh my gosh.
But for real though, and then they count him. But how archaic flying is you don't go through TSA. You just show up at the gate, everybody gets on, and it's a free for all. Now Southwest is one thing, but for American Airlines, it's like find an open seat, no window, like this, that. It's basically sit wherever. And then the parents are sitting in like first class. The kids are sitting in, the fucking bathrooms.
He's only supposed to be like 8. Like Macaulay Culkin, you're like gonna let your 8-year-old sit by himself? Well, I'm not doing that.
No, absolutely. Not to mention, like, I'm standing at the gate as everybody's going on, and I'm double and triple checking all of my children because I know I have kids as young as like 6 years old coming with.
Right. And you only have 2. They had 5.
Yeah. Like I'm counting all of the kids as they go. And like just awful and parenting, man.
His brother's kids too. They were at least they lost one of their own.
Is this your house? No, of course. Why would it be?
Most reasonable person is the robber.
Yeah. Well, okay. So funny thing about Harry is it is funny because there is that scene where Marv's turning on all the water. He's getting back in the car. He's laughing. He's like, what? And Marv's just laughing. He's like, you did it again, didn't you? He's like, this is our calling card. He's like, you're real sick. You know that? As they're robbing everybody, he's like, you're real sick. Like destroying these people's houses. He's got honor. Yeah. He does.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and it's incredibly stupid. And they say it at the end. Now we know every single house you hit. Like
that is smart. Yeah, real smart. You hit it. All these houses you hit. The wet bandits. But one thing before we kind of dive into all the actual killing is like Kevin's aim. We should have known because his aim with that rifle was pretty scary accurate. When he's sitting in the kitchen right after his parents disappear, he's like put up the figures and he's shooting in the kitchen. Yeah. He was like scary accurate with that thing. You should have known from the jump that Kevin means business. He's a psychopath.
Do you think there's a little kid in the world that if his parents were out of town, he would get up and put on khakis and a nice sweater?
No, my kids, my son turns 8 next week. He wouldn't survive this. There's no way I could leave him at home alone and he would be able smart enough to set up all these traps. The kid can't even bring his fucking lunchbox to school.
Starve to death. Yeah. The other day he's like, he wanted a snack. And I'm like, so go get it. And he's like, you have to get it for me. No, I don't. You're 6. Like you can go to the pantry.
Can't even remember to bring a jacket to school or home from school or bring us his homework or any of that stuff. Oh. And you expect me to believe that this guy, like this Kevin McAllister, is out here putting up like booby traps that would be found in the woods of Vietnam? Like, God bless.
His iPad died. I think he just lay down and give up. So
he would Logan, as his iPad dies, he's just like,
I surrender. You can have the house. My mom came and picked Logan up yesterday because it's Thanksgiving week. So she went to take him for a couple of days. And I told Logan, I go, you're going to pack your bag. So I tell him, like, go bring me 5 pairs of underwear. And they go, bring me 2 pairs of shorts and a pair of pants. And he goes to run to get shorts. And he comes back. He goes, are pants the long sleeve shorts?
Long sleeve shorts.
He didn't know what pants were because it's going to be like down
Luckily,
into the 60s.
Kids know how to make my kids know how to do their laundry, so they'll be right there. And Oliver can cook the basic stuff.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. But yeah, Logan, I'm starting to be like, no, you have to put your stuff away. And all his shirts are hung up and I got him a step stool, but then I noticed he was breaking all his hangers by ripping the clothes down. So every time you rip the shirt down, the hanger broke.
Hangers are fragile too.
Yeah. So that's the most unreal. Is he 8 or 10? No, he's 8 in this and 10
he's
in the
8
next
in this one.
Right?
Yeah. Like, and he's out here like using coupons at the grocery store.
Man, I'm 8 years old. Yeah.
You think I'm here by myself? First of all, Oliver wouldn't.
Kids don't know what coupons are.
Grocery store, know what a coupon is. Like,
do they even have coupons anymore? Everything's digital.
I bet you could probably figure out how to shop online and DoorDash it.
Oh, somebody keeps buying shit on Alexa.
That's what I'm saying.
Pretty sure it's Logan.
I guarantee you, like, they're smart enough. Maybe they would be okay, but also he'd be too busy into his iPad that he wouldn't even recognize somebody breaks into the house. He probably would.
He'd be like, Alexa, order more strawberries.
Alexa, I'm hungry. Ordering DoorDash now. Like McDonald's. I'm going to come home to like 6 cartons of McDonald's. You know what? They might be onto something. You're right.
Well, Macaulay Culkin did do a Google app commercial.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Anybody who hasn't seen it, YouTube, Macaulay Culkin, it's Google, play this, Google, play that, Google, set the timer for my mac and cheese. It was a really good commercial. E.T. did that too. They did a Christmas commercial and it was so cute. And like his kids got to meet E.T. I don't even remember what that commercial was for.
I don't remember that one either, but yeah, no, this was... You're right. I am interested. Let me get a modern day. Actually, I would love to see a modern day like remake of this movie where it's a kid using Alexa and stuff to just violently murder these criminals in a way of like I don't even know. I feel like it'd be really interesting in a way of just turning your house into this fortress of solitude. Although I don't think the cops would also just blow off your parents these days you'd also be arrested probably when you get back home.
Well, and there would 100% be a freaking, at least at a minimum, a shelter hearing for those parents as to the fact that they left their child. Yeah.
And also nobody came to the door, ma'am. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
oh, she's crazy.
The cops would probably break into the house. Like, I'm telling you, my kid is there by himself. They'd be staked out waiting to see him enter or exit the house.
And she'd be on her ring being like, I'm not crazy. I counted my kids.
That's the other thing. She'd probably be talking to him through the ring these days.
There every time he left, stay there, Kevin. We're coming.
I see you. We're coming home. Another favorite line of mine for this movie is snakes. I always do that. When I'm sitting there and I don't know what's going on, I just turn on and be like, snakes. I don't know no snakes. Because he's like, I heard somebody named Snakes. Marvin, he goes, snakes. I don't know no snakes. I don't know. He sounded like a snake. Those were that's another one I quote all the time. But yeah, the traps in this movie are pretty crazy. Like the broken glass, we get the fire, the marbles. Like Kevin's a psychopath. And kind of had to be. He took out like all of his no wonder he's so happy to see his family, because he's no longer angry. Because he was so angry, he took out all of his frustrations and all of his anger on Marv and Harry, who were trying to rob his house. And it's kind of hilarious.
It would be great to get a horror movie where they come back and it's like Macaulay Culkin's like at this point, he could probably be a grandfather because, or he could have a young kid. Who knows? Yeah. But see them try to go after the kid, but then the kid be like next level psychopath.
Actually, it'd be cool to see this in like this universe, like Macaulay Culkin's back as Kevin. He's like testing his kid for the first time. So he's like, leaves his kid and see how he does. It's like he finally passed.
He's watching him.
Something stupid, something dumb.
I like the commercial they did, or I think they were just having fun with it, where they're like, no, these were real. Like nobody believed Kevin that people were like breaking into his house.
Right. Which is another thing. It's like, you guys just, I don't know, ridiculous. Do you have anything with this movie kind of before we go into also Home Alone 2?
There's a couple things. So anytime I rush through the airport, I sing in my head, Run, Run, Rudolph. I can't not do that.
Oh yeah. That's one of my favorite songs for Christmas.
Same. And on Cosmic Rewind, they change it now to Run, Run, Rocket. I don't know what this says after that.
That's cool.
Pizzas were pretty expensive in 1990. So remember it was like $12 for one pizza.
We got 10 pizzas at $12 a piece.
So I feel like is like pizza the one thing that hasn't like significantly gone up? Like, so first of all, you can order Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut for way like $10 or less if it's on a weekday.
Right.
And I actually looked at my private place, Goodfellas, if ever in Orlando, Goodfellas, amazing pizza.
Good stuff.
You can get a 10-inch pizza for $11 today or 16-inch for $16 today. So pizza might be the one and only thing that has not had an astronomical jump for inflation. Yes. Knock on wood, because I love pizza. The only other there have been a couple nods. I love that, like, in The Night Before, he's like, she home alone to me. And then you even see that in Silent Night, Deadly Night, not Silent Night, Deadly Night, Silent Night, Violent Night. It's such a staple. Everybody knows it, that they're even referencing it in these other things. And I feel like Silent Night, Violent Night is what would actually happen. It was people actually died. It's just Santa rather than an 8-year-old kid. But either way, these people would have died. My last thing I thought was very interesting. And like, I know that we curse and say vulgar things, but I'm always very hesitant to say this just in case there's little ears around. I figured something out younger than I should have before I saw this movie, so it didn't impact me. But I did notice at the end, they zoom in on the stockings and it's very obvious that something didn't happen. And as a watching that as
I don't know what we're talking about.
So Macaulay Culkin sets cookies and milk out for Santa, and he hopes that his parent.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay.
So I was always kind of surprised at that. So, and those are my last.
Wow, I never caught that. That's actually surprising. Yeah, no, I never caught that.
But Santa did help his mom get home one time.
There's something sacred. I'll talk about Jensen Ackles cum all day, but I draw the line at a certain breaking of mistakes. Yes. Okay, God damn it.
We don't break magic.
We have principles on this podcast.
Cum and Santa are both magic. We're not here to ruin magic.
We're not here to ruin this. So Home Alone 2.
We're all about magic.
Lost in New York is the sequel to obviously Home Alone, when this movie came out 2 years later in 1992 with it was the same cast, just about like the same cast is back. Hooray.
They
this
added
time though, they did add Tim Curry, Rob Schneider,
hell of an ad.
Just forget about now. But this movie came out November 20th.
With the stupid zebra stripe gum.
Yeah.
That gum, it has like flavor for all of 2 seconds.
It does. It really does. It was garbage. So this movie came out November 20th, 1992, receiving mixed views from critics. They praised the performances while criticizing the darker tone and violence. All right. As well as the similarities to the first film. Well, yeah, it's Home Alone 2, dude. Like, come on. The film grossed $359 million worldwide, becoming the third highest grossing film of 1992. So once again, like I said, we got Harry, we got Marv by Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, Macaulay Culkin, Catherine O'Hara, John Hurd. They're all back. And this time they're going to go spend Christmas in Florida. Only Macaulay Culkin's character is too busy playing with his batteries on his voice recorder, which is a fun little addition.
Not a voice recorder. It's a talk boy.
Oh.
It does more than voice record. It slows the voice down. It speeds the voice
I
up.
always talk. Another quotable thing for me is Kevin McAllister, the father. I always quote that shit. I don't know why. Like, that's one thing that I always quote for the movie.
So one of the fun facts I have is this was not an actual toy until after the movie, but like my brother had this toy. Like I remember Brandon holding it and playing with it. Yeah.
That's good. Now, why don't you go ahead and give us the fun facts real quick, and then we'll talk about the movie a little bit.
So a pigeon actually flew directly into Marv's mouth at the end of the movie. It wasn't according to him. So Trump asked for a speaking line in the movie. They paid the fee to use the hotel, but Trump also said the only way you can use the plaza is if I'm in the movie. Columbus then was telling the story, and he's like, so they agreed to do that. However, in 2021, Culkin joined a bunch of other people asking for Trump's one line down the hall and to the left to be cut from the movie. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't remember it getting cut. I wish.
Yeah, where would it be cut from? Disney Plus at this point?
I always actually love when they're talking about Donald Trump. They always go Home Alone 2 star Donald Trump is in the meat. It's like he's not a star in this movie. Like he's the most forgettable person about this movie. Let's make things clear. There's nothing memorable and star about Donald Trump in Home Alone 2.
Well, Columbus did say that when they revealed his cameo, that test audience actually cheered at the sight of, this real estate big, because, back then it was just a big real estate guy. Nobody knew he was going to become president one day. There is no actual pool at the plaza, and Duncan's toy chest is fake, and everything is a lie.
God,
I don't have. Apparently, those are the only fun facts I have. Really?
Well, this movie, of course, we see Kevin. He gets left behind, and he gets on the wrong airplane. Which, again, flying in the 90s was archaic. That they let this poor kid who doesn't even have a fucking ticket to New York City get on a plane to New York City. He has his dad's credit card. And thus begins the.
And they do the.
The old school.
How would you not know how to use a credit card? You just hand it over.
You hand it to them. Yeah, you just hand it to them. What do you like?
Right.
Especially
if
in the
anything,
90s.
It would be more complicated today because you have to like insert it or tap it. Then you literally just give it to the person.
Again, my 8-year-old wouldn't survive this movie because first things first, he can't even find his way out of a brown paper bag, let alone New York City. Like. He wouldn't know how to find his way to his aunt and uncle's house in New York City if he had one. No way.
Yeah, that's true. And Macaulay Culkin did that without MapQuest.
And he's 10. Yeah, he didn't have Google Maps.
He had the address book and he could just tell the cab driver.
Oh, that's fair. I think so.
Yeah, he wasn't taking the train or the subway or anything.
No, he wasn't going the hard route. But yeah, like there was no like tap, any of that stuff. He gets a nice big hotel. Tim Curry's suspicious from the get-go. However, the concierge just lets this 10-year-old kid swipe the credit card and go right upstairs and treat himself to whatever he wants.
Right there, that should have been a sign. Like, this kid's plus nobody can eat that much ice cream and not puke.
Also,
you just can't hold that much dairy in your tummy.
It means New York City. They probably see crazy stuff all the time. Like parents, like the one time.
On the subway.
Listen, I saw some pretty depraved stuff at Orlando once upon a time when I was waiting to build one of the plastic lightsabers. I had a lady with her boob out breastfeeding, and then I had a kid.
That lady was probably me.
No, well, then this kid who had not had a sip of water all day threw up red cherry, whatever he's been drinking all day, right in line on the actual stuff. So they had to close it all down. Like I've seen some depraved stuff. So parents let their people run wild. I bet you she's seen some shit. She probably doesn't get paid enough either.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, I've seen crazier stuff, I think, in New York than Orlando, but who knows? Fair. You see crazy stuff everywhere. You see
crazy stuff everywhere. It is everywhere.
I have breastfed all over Disney, so that's not crazy.
Oh, I have no hate against anybody breastfeeding. It's just I didn't realize what was going on at first. And then Carrie pointed out to me, she's like, wow, you handled that really well. And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, she was just breastfeeding and her boob was just flapping in the wind. And I was like, I honestly didn't even notice. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even notice.
Flapping in the wind.
Yeah, like I didn't even notice this. But back to the movie.
Oh, yeah,
this movie's, I don't know. I like Home Alone 1 better, but something about Home Alone 2 is exciting because it's the city. And you just happen upon Marv and Harry, who are fresh out of jail. They see him.
Out of a fish thing too, and they like stink.
Yeah, and they try to kidnap him, and then he slaps the butt, and that was pretty clever to get away. And Kevin's smart. That was clever. Again, he's a serial killer.
Punched him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing. Like that's the sequel.
What if Kevin grew up to be Dexter?
That I was just thinking of Dexter. It was like he was thirsty. He's like, you're thirsty for more. He was thirsty for more.
Yeah. And I will have to agree with your one point about Kevin just like sneaking out. So he makes friends with the homeless pigeon lady in New York City, which it's very terrifying. I wonder if this is like a realistic view of New York City when he's there in Central Park and it's the hookers and the creepy people, or if it's like through a 10-year-old's lens where every adult is scary looking kind of thing, I
think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It was clever.
I don't even think it was that late. It was just dark.
Yeah, that's very true.
Was it kids are afraid of the dark? You're scared of the dark, Marv.
Okay. First of all, though, like poor Kevin's aunt and uncle's house gets absolutely wrecked in this movie. Like they're renovating it anyways, but they absolutely
That's the scene we missed. They walk in. What the fuck happened?
There's a deleted scene somewhere. They walk in, their house is just torn to shit. And it's like, I knew we were renovating, but geesh, because it's way more brutal. I feel like the traps in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they're flying down stories
and
too.
He's throwing bricks off a roof.
Yeah, the brick right there, that could kill you.
You would have killed him. You would have caved his skull.
That's a brain bleed. Yeah. Oh my God.
You're throwing bricks off a roof.
Well, even he does the 2 paint cans, which that was genius, doing the 1 paint can and the other, then having the big one that gets both of them. But they fell down at least 1 story, if not 2, after they were hit in the chest with that thing. They probably have like collapsed lungs.
Yeah. Again, I think there was a was it Mythbusters? I think they did an episode on if they were able to live, and it was absolutely not like. But the traps in this movie were just. Kevin was out for blood, which I would be too. Like, you guys survived the first one. You found me in New York. Now you're out here trying to kidnap and actually kill me on this one. I'm killing you first. And imagine getting smoked by some 10-year-old kid who smoked you the first time.
Next time they see you come at him with a gun. Yeah. I mean, what are they afraid of? Like,
could you imagine they open up the door and there's just Kevin with 2 freaking like it's America, right? Like, what kid doesn't have a gun these days? Jesus Christ. But he's just sitting there ready to
He have a BB gun.
He did. And it is funny that like Kevin's out here like living all these cool adventures, and then his parents and everybody's just sitting. Okay, for as rich as they are, they're in the dingiest hotel.
They're in a Sam and Dean hotel. They're literally in a supernatural
This is a hotel where you find methed out hookers and AIDS.
If you are that, like, there are nice hotels in Miami. You can stay on the beach. Like,
like
Fort Lauderdale. Like, you got the Ritz, you got the W, you got fancy ass hotels. Are you not staying on the
you're richest? You flew the entire family Beach, like a year ago to
Collins
Paris.
Avenue. Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm telling you, they picked the worst hotel. I don't get this at all. Like, all of a sudden they're pouring on a budget. No, I'm not buying it.
No, they were just trying to make Florida look bad so you can make your stupid little Christmas trees look better, which I love Christmas trees.
Oh, that's true.
We have Christmas trees. And she goes, I don't know, we can decorate a palm tree. For one, you don't put lights on a palm tree because it looks like a penis exploding.
It does.
But we have Christmas trees. They import them down here. You can get a Christmas tree.
Well,
but I also didn't like that they have it constantly raining. December is not rainy season.
No.
And they also had I get that they were trying to play the trope on, like, in the first movie we were watching It's a Wonderful Life and it's in French, and now we're watching It's a Wonderful Life and it's in Spanish. Miami has channels that are not Spanish. You're not just getting Telemundo.
Yeah, I've lived in Florida. I've been to Orlando, Miami. So like their portrayal was very much, if you're going to do this, have them
stereotypical.
Get broken down on the plane somewhere then in some shitty area. Like, I don't know, Gary, Indiana, or fucking, I don't know, anywhere. You could have picked
or have them end up in a podunk city in Florida. Just don't put them in Miami.
Yeah, because like if you put them in Miami, they're probably at like the nicest hotel because they're rich again, and they're all enjoying the pool while Miss McAllister is over here freaking out. Without a doubt. Yeah. Because again, his dad doesn't care that Kevin's lost. He doesn't even care that his credit card's gone. And not to mention, I feel like they canceled a credit card, but they probably wouldn't have done that in the 90s. And especially once you figure out that your son has it and he's lost by himself in New York City, you're probably calling your credit card company and be like, hey, here's the deal. Please don't cancel this.
I think that's how they ended up finding him.
Well, that is how they ended up finding him, because he did call about his missing credit card, and that's where it was swiped, and then they canceled it still. But
it was the cops that thought of that. Yeah, not him.
Yeah, exactly. Again, like for a guy who's clearly rich, he's freaking stupid and doesn't care about anybody.
Maybe he's a trust fund baby.
He could be.
No, but that wouldn't make sense though, because his sister's the one married to Frank, right?
Yes.
So then she would have money too. And they must not have money if he's trying to steal silverware.
She must hate. Oh, yeah. The silver. Put that in your purse. It's real silver. Put it in your purse.
We were somewhere recently and Josh, like, this is nice silverware. Put it in your purse.
I feel like that sometimes at a brewery a long time ago when I used to like take glasses. Oh, this is a nice glass.
Put it in your gosh.
I don't do that now because I love to support my breweries. I've learned this was before I've became the craft beer connoisseur that we are, right?
Right.
But
when you realize there's small businesses struggling. So Josh stole a glass from a brewery about 10 years ago. And the next time we were there, I made him apologize.
You go up there and you say you're sorry. Hey, sir, 10 years ago, you probably weren't even legal drinking.
It was like 6 months before that or something. I'm like, last time we were here, he stole a glass and he needs to pay for it and he needs to apologize. And the server's like, I don't care. And so I made sure we tipped really well.
They're like, dude, what? And you're like, it means something to me. And they're just like, I don't care enough.
I don't know why that's a thing when you're young, you feel the need to steal glasses. I mean, I don't know. I guess
I guess I was younger and I was like, I couldn't afford as much then. And I wanted nice glassware for the house. So that's one of those things. And I didn't know enough.
I mean, I have multiple friends who have the Chili's shakers for the bottomless margaritas.
That's awesome. Fuck Chili's. I don't care. Steal from Chili's all day. What do I care?
I don't condone
Chili's
stealing at all, but that's the thing. Yeah, if you're going to steal from the big people. Never steal from a small business. We had like a Cloak and Blaster is a geek themed bar around here. And they had an issue where people were literally stealing their decorations. And they had to post something man. We are going to go out of business. Like if we can't even create this atmosphere that, you guys love. I get that people get drunk and do dumb shit, but I can't imagine taking something off the wall somewhere and be like, coming home with
kind of like entitled person, like, oh, I like this wall decor. Like, come on, man. Come on.
I hope that you wake up the next morning hungover and are like, oh my God, I feel so bad. And
that's why a lot of these breweries have cameras now. I did see that one time on a brewery. I did. They posted the video footage of them stealing something. I've seen that so many times actually lately.
I've seen that. And I've seen that we had somebody come back in and bring something back. That takes a big person to do that, to have to come back and give it back. So.
That's true. Well, what do you got notes wise, thoughts wise from this movie?
I said all my anti-Miami stuff because, I was born in Miami and I always liked Christmas. It never didn't feel like Christmas, but this is the only Christmas I know are not white Christmases. I had one white Christmas actually when I lived in Jacksonville. 89 it snowed in Jacksonville. And I had a white Christmas in Rhode Island one time visiting family. Other than that, these are the only Christmases I know. And we decorate. We get a Fraser fir every year, a real Christmas tree, ship them down from North Carolina. It's beautiful. I really don't have any other notes. I love how they smell, especially when they're dying. And then when you burn the Christmas trees after, they go up so fast.
Yeah, that's fair.
And real ones are better for the environment than fake ones. I did a real one last year. Oh yeah, I thought you did do real ones.
It's just too much work. I'm lazy. I'm sorry.
So good. It is a lot of sweeping, but the fake ones tend to spread needles too.
They do.
really, my only other comments are about the bird lady. Like, for one, she must have smelled so bad. For two, she seems so reasonable, so sweet that she wasn't going to be like, Kevin, you're 10 years old. Let's take you to the cops so you can find your parents.
Yeah, she had no sense of like parental
this
instinct.
Is an actual child.
This kid is finding me. I'm a stranger. Because real quick. I was in Toronto, 2019, and it was the nicest homeless man ever. He was on skates. He was skating around, just vibing his life. And these kids came up and talked to him. And he was like, hey, whoa, wait, I don't know you. You don't know me. You shouldn't be talking to me. I'm a stranger. And your parents wouldn't like that. It was the nicest homeless man on earth. Like that was very cool energy from this guy. And she didn't pass the vibe test on that regard.
Right. But she was so sweet.
She was innocent, but at the same time, like, hey, where are your parents at?
She just felt like she had to justify. I wasn't always this way. Well, you don't need money to bring him to the cops.
It's New York City. I feel like you could find a job. I don't know, man.
But then you saw like Kevin like ring up that bill at the plaza. For one, why are they making him pay for it after they just put them all up there and they're still going to give him the room service bill, which he was not old enough to consent to via the credit card. So that doesn't even make sense. But the amount of money that they got and they're staying at the plaza and all he gives this homeless lady is a fucking turtle dove ornament for a tree she doesn't
easily just been like, I'm disputing these charges, and they would have let it go though at the company because it's like this is my 10-year-old kid. He stole my card. I'm disputing these charges. I bet you they probably would let them go. So who cares at that point? But now he's willing to ball out, not at the hotel in Miami, but now he's willing to ball out because they're in New York City.
Well, I assumed that they gave him the room for free. So it was like, but they're still going to charge him for the room service. None of that made sense. And that's all I got. Did you ever hear the story about the bird lady with? No. She had all the birds on her hat, and every time she bent over, she let one fly.
I've never heard that.
That's my mom's joke. It's a fart joke. That's my mom's joke.
Oh, come on. Boo.
she
I mean, if your mom's listening, that's a good joke. Ha ha ha. If she's not listening, boo.
With the bird lady, my mom always makes that joke about the bird lady. So I felt like I had to pass it on.
Oh, man. Just like the fart.
Yep. Every time she bent over, she let one fly.
Oh, jeez. Well, that was Home Alone 1 and 2. That was the beginning of our Christmas stuff. If you guys want to let us know what Christmas movies, I mean, shoot, even Hanukkah movies. Hell, you want a Hallmark movie? Let Lauren know because I'm down all the time.
Next week, we're doing Christmas monsters and Christmas beer.
We are doing Christmas monsters, Christmas beer. I picked up a 4-pack of Hardywood's gingerbread stout. I'm saving one for you and I'm saving one for Stacy. So maybe if I'm down in North Carolina this weekend and I pick up some Burial, I'll try to get you some beers out for that episode, but we'll see. And thanks for hanging out with us. As always, subscribe, like all of that crazy crap that we have to say, but feel awkward saying. It helps us grow. It helps us do cool stuff like interviewing Jeff Johns, which I'm never letting go. And not to mention, we've interviewed some really cool people this year. Derek Robertson, creator of The Boys, Jeff Johns, like guys, we are on a roll this year, not to toot our own horn, but if you're missing out, it's never too late to hop on, catch up on our old episodes, follow us what we're doing now. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are rolling on the Christmas train, the holiday train. We'll see you next time.